Now, Dale, welcome to the show. I know that that you and I have clashed on this in the past, but I've taken a bit of exception to you targeting me and blaming me for the climate, because you're the guy that's supposed to be fixing the climate, and apparently everything you're doing is not having any effect.
Well, I'm blaming you for the climate denial, not for the climate, Mikey. And actually, climate denial, though, I have to say, is a part of the problem because it confuses people. It sows confusion, and therefore it slows down the progress that we urgently need to make. And the little bit of flooding that cancelled their game at Mansfield, if you look at the video online, and I know that you have, the city was flooded. Yeah. There were rivers running down the roads. It wasn't a waterlogged pitch, it was a waterlogged city. And it's exceptional.
Do you know, hang on, Dale, do you know what the name of that road is that was being flooded by the water?
I don't know, tell me.
It's called River Road.
Tell me.
It's called River Road because it gets flooded on a regular basis. In fact, if you bothered, if you bothered to read some of the replies on that tweet that you put out, and I think we can see it very shortly because I want people to see the kind of nonsense you're putting out there and supposedly, honest to goodness, actual truth. The fact is that Mansfield has flooded on a regular basis throughout history because it's just one of those places. And yes, you can argue all sorts of things have changed, but the things that have changed have also been because of environmental controls that have been put on by people like you urging for them to be done, like the dredging of rivers, which no longer happens, like the refusal by councils to completely clear the drains, which no longer happens, by parts of the country being built on by developers because they were floodplains before and now they have water running through them. It's hardly surprising. And I just don't understand why you would call somebody like me a climate denier. I don't even know what that means. What do you mean by that?
Is everything you just said, Mike. You're saying that it's nothing to do with the climate, these bizarre and extreme weather occurrences that keep, you just said it, you said it's about planning, it's about not dredging rivers.
Well, is that not
you gave a whole host of other reasons. You gave a whole host of reasons for flooding in Mansfield. When in fact, if you look at the data, the weather in 2023 already is off the charts in all respects globally. And, scientists are very clear. They can give you a whole long list of extreme temperatures and rainfalls and stuff like that. This is unprecedented. The planet is hotter now than it's been in 100,000 years.
No, but don't. The trouble with you, Dale. No, the trouble with you, Dale, is that you're unwilling to admit that some things might be possible. Only one thing for you is possible, and it's climate change. But let's face it. We have never been. We have never been more climate friendly, if you want to call it that. We have never been more green in this country. We have never done more to punish people for driving around in petrol and diesel cars. We're going to outlaw them, for heaven's sake, coming up soon. We've never done more for taxing people who want to fly and go around spreading, carbon everywhere. We've never been harder on people who wish to live their lives as freely as they possibly can. And yet, apparently, according to you, it's not doing any good.
No, I'm sorry, but there's a lot of nonsense in there, Mikey. We aren't taxing flying. There's been no increases in the tax on flying. The ban on new diesel and petrol cars has been pushed back to 13 years from now. It's hardly oppressing anybody. Rubbish. It's hardly oppressing anybody, is it? It's 13 years from now.
Are you telling me that there is no tax on flying on a passenger plane, which is a green tax? Are you saying that's not true?
I'm saying when you said we've increased the tax on flying, that's not true.
Yes, we have. There used to be no tax. There used to be no environmental tax on flying, correct or not correct?
There's almost no tax on flying now. There's no fuel duty on flying now. Why? Why is there no fuel duty on flying?
Obviously, you probably fly over on a private jet. If you buy a commercial flight ticket, you go and look at how much it is, and you go and look at what all the taxes are for, and the taxes are for the environment. They were put on by Gordon Brown, and they remain there. So people are paying through the nose to fly because of people like you who are trying to price them out of the market.
No, flying's dirt cheap. You know that.
No, it isn't.
It is.
Absolutely not.
Cheap.
It used to be.
And there's no fuel duty. There's no fuel duty.
It used to be dirt cheap, but if you buy a ticket and it's £100, you can guarantee that £65 of that is tax, isn't it?
Well, if you buy a gallon of petrol, you can guarantee that 85% of that is tax, and that's been existing for decades.
Yeah, and that hasn't stopped people buying petrol, has it?
Buy a pack of cigarettes, 99% tax, I reckon.
Yeah, okay.
It's been like that for decades.
Yeah, all right.
But we tax bad things, Mike. We tax bad things like smoking, like alcohol, and like fuel, burning fossil fuels. It's poisoning the air that we breathe. 40,000 Britons a year die from car fumes. That's
rubbish.
A government
That's
statistic.
That's not true. That is categorically incorrect. That is not true. That is based on a load of old cobblers, which was put out by the UN, which is now a completely discredited body.
UK government.
It's not. No, it's absolute rubbish. No, it is it's another one of these models that people say is true because it suits your agenda. What I'm saying to you, Dale, is that you've been campaigning and how long have you been running your eco-friendly company, Ecotricity? How long has that been going?
Oh, must be nearly 30 years.
30 years, and you've achieved the square root of bugger all then. So why don't you just give up?
Well, let me tell you this. When I started, there was no renewable energy in our country. Today, we're at nearly 50% green electricity on the grid.
Yeah, but it's obviously not doing any good. But it's obviously not doing any good, is it? Because you've got flooded Mansfield and you can't play your football match. So you might as well stop trying because you're clearly having no impact whatsoever.
But I'm not good at it, right? You know that. Well, and I'm not going to stop telling you that climate denial is dangerous.
Yeah, well, I'm not a climate denialist because you still haven't actually determined what that is. You still haven't given me a definition. Give me the definition of a climate denialist.
Well, I think what you say is in effect to deny that we're living in a man-made climate crisis.
What?
And that these extreme weather events that we experience are not just a normal pattern. No. They are extreme. There's denial right there.
Well,
we're living in times of extreme weather.
Well, let me tell you. Yeah, how do you explain the fact that Mansfield has been flooded more often over the course of the last 100 years than almost every major town in this country?
How do you explain that 10 of the hottest years we've ever had
Why don't you answer my question?
Have been in the last 10 years? Mikey, you can pick one extreme example and tell me something that may or may not be true, but
Can we have a look at Dale's tweet?
Look at the data. Look at the global data. Look at the global data. 10 of the hottest years that have been recorded have been in the last 10 years.
How long have they been recording them?
To an unlivable planet.
How long have they been recording them, Dale?
Scientists tell us right now that the global temperature is the highest it's been in 100,000 years. And I know you'll say, science, what do they know?
Science wasn't even around 100,000 years ago. So they can't even tell that.
Doesn't mean they can't look.
They're just making it up, Dale.
Oh, Mike, come on.
Let's have a look at your tweet. Let's have a look at the divisive tweet. Not that tweet. I mean the tweet that's got the flooding on it. Have we not got that? Can we have the video of the flooding, please? Because that's what we want to see. Here we go. Here's the water running down.
That's just one part of Mansfield. That's one road. The whole of the city was flooded.
The name of the road is River Road, right? They call it River Road because every now and again it turns into a river. Pop quiz. They don't call it road. They don't call it, concrete road. They call it River Road because, look, it turns into a river. And you should know that. Yeah, and you are a man in a position of some power, Mr. Vince, and you should not be putting out this kind of dangerous propaganda. Let me tell you this.
That's a nice twist.
Let me tell you this. Roger says this. Let's see if the public believes you, right? And if you look on that tweet, you'll know that they won't. Roger says, had storms like this in the past, for any individual to advocate it should be illegal to have a different opinion is a path the UK should not go down. Ant says, Dale Vince is insane. If we have more rain than usual, it should be viewed as a gift for the coming year. What we should be doing is building infrastructure to make use of the rainfall, capture it for drinking, sanitation, irrigation and hydroelectric power. Oscar says, I think we should make eco-activism a criminal offence. Checkmate, I win. So there you go.
I think it is.
You haven't got the people on your side, man.
It's been made a criminal offence already, actually, by our government.
What has?
But, listen, you've read out 3 quotes from 3 people. That does not mean I don't have the people on my side.
I've got another 3 here for you.
70% of the British public want more done on the climate crisis than is being done, right?
No,
the people are with me.
No,
actually.
They're not. The people are not. The people are not with you, Dale.
Your audience is not representative.
Yes, it is. It's representative of a great many people in this country whose voices are getting louder because we've been pushed around for too long by the net zero fundamentalists, people like you, who are an absolute disgrace. You want everybody to be arrested and put in prison because they don't agree with you. I think that's shocking.
I think that's a silly thing to say.